The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
You may type and send your questions at any time during the presentation. We will collect these and address them during the Q&A session at the end. Before we hear from our first presenter, we would like to ask our audience a question. What is your educational goal? The options are take courses or earn a degree at BC3 and immediately start a career, take courses or earn a degree at BC3 and transfer to a four-year college or university, earn BC3 credit while enrolled at another college or university, earn college credit while still in high school, or uncertain. Please select your response and click submit. Once everyone has had a chance to respond, we will close the poll. We are now closing the poll, and let me share the results with everyone. It looks like the majority of you intend to take courses or earn a degree and then transfer, while some of you are still uncertain. That's excellent. I would now like to introduce our Dean of the Humanities and Social Sciences Division, Steve Joseph. Take it away, Dean Joseph.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining us tonight. We're all very happy to see you. Before we meet two of our fantastic faculty members, I would like to take a brief moment to tell you just a little bit about the Humanities and Social Sciences Division. This division is made up of approximately 30 different academic programs you can choose from. We have a number of career programs that are two-year programs in which you would develop the skills to start a career immediately after graduation. We also have several transfer programs, which prepare students to transfer to a four-year college or university after completing the first 2 years of coursework at BC3. And we also have a number of certificate programs, which are one-year programs that provide you with entry-level skills or can serve as a launchpad for expanding your knowledge base in the future. You will be hearing from one of our fantastic faculty members in the Humanities and Social Sciences Division. She combines academic rigor with extensive hands-on experience and passion for her fields. Mrs. Christine Allen is a full-time instructor and the program coordinator for 3 related programs: graphic design, photography, and digital audio and video production. Joining Mrs. Allen for the question and answer session will be Mr. Dan Osorno, a part-time instructor who teaches classes in all 3 of these programs. It is my pleasure to have these wonderful faculty members here with us to tell us more about their programs.
Thank you, Dean Joseph. Remember, if you have any questions for Dean Joseph, you can type them into the question pane of the control panel at any time during the presentation. And before I introduce our first faculty presenter, we have another question for our audience. Which degree program are you interested in learning more about? Graphic design, photography, digital audio and video production, 2 of the programs listed above, or uncertain? Please select your response and click submit. Once everyone has had a chance to respond, we will close the poll. We are now closing the poll. And let me share the results with everyone. It looks like, again, we're split pretty evenly. Some of you are interested in our graphic design program, some in the digital audio and video production program, and some of you are interested in 2 or more of the programs listed above. As Dean Joseph said, I would like to introduce our first faculty presenter this evening, Christine Allen, Program Coordinator of the Graphic Design, Photography, and Digital Audio and Video Production programs. Christine is also an academic advisor at BC3. Welcome, Christine.
Good evening, everyone. I am so happy that you took the time to join us this evening to learn more about our 3 fantastic degree programs. What I'd like to stress to you, or make sure you understand that when you do decide to register, make sure you contact me. You will see my email address at the bottom of some of the slides. Contact me so I can advise you to help you with your placement into your classes to make sure you take the correct classes in the right order. So what we're talking about is the visual communications degree programs. That's the heading over graphic design, photography, and digital audio and video production. So just a little overview of what we're going to cover. We're going to talk a little bit about what is visual communication. We're going to discuss a little of the features of BC3's 3 visual communication degrees, the benefits to you. And we will do a brief description and job examples for the graphic design program, the photography program, and the digital audio and video production program. So first of all, what is video communication? Well, it goes beyond what it sounds like. It is communication in a visual form, but it is so much more. As it says in the slide, it's that savvy, the visual communication skills help the designer or the photographer or filmmaker to effectively attract attention to the visual, create interest in the message, and clearly convey what the message is. There's lots of different kinds of software out there, or anyone could pick up a camera or a video camera, but you really have to know what you're doing, and you have to know before you do it, as you're doing it, and when you're done, to wrap it up and make it look really great and to be effective to your client or to your project manager or whoever whoever you're preparing this for. So on a day-to-day basis, we are all overwhelmed with what we see. There is just so much coming at us visually. We have to know, if you want to be an effective visual communicator, you have to learn how to make sure that your work will rise above the clutter, the glut of all of this visual communication that is out there. So features of our programs at BC3. So first of all, we have small classes. So this allows for more student-teacher interaction. Now, of course, right now, because of COVID, things are a bit smaller than normal. But even when we go back to the regular setting, the classes are still small. So that is a nice arrangement for you guys, because you get more assistance, more direction, and more time to interact with the instructor. We also do something a little different in our program than most of the other degree programs at the school, where we have our core classes. You will have them once a week. They're scheduled for a 3-hour session rather than breaking it up over like an hour 3 times a week or an hour and a half 2 times a week. We found over time that students much preferred having it in a chunk, because when you're working on a project, you don't want to work on it for 10 minutes and have to wrap it up. So we give you lab time. Essentially, we teach you something and then you have some lab time to work, and it works out nicer for everybody. And then it also could make it a little easier for you for scheduling. And so a lot of the students in the visual communication program really like the block scheduling. We have the current technologies. We like to keep up with the standard industry standard of the software. And so our primary software that we use are the Adobe programs. Progressive learning is another feature of all of these programs. And that means that we really make sure we structure the programs so that they build on one another. You can really see what you're learning. You take one class, and then what you learned there will apply to the next class, and so on and so on. And students have even remarked how much they appreciate that, because they really can tell that there's a progression in their learning. Faculty collaboration. What I mean by that is our faculty, we all get along very well. We're constantly communicating. We're always working towards making sure that we're keeping the program up to date and getting input from each other on the different classes, and maybe if a student needs help getting some input. So we really like to work together. We also like to do project problem solving. So your projects that you that you do in the classes, apply what you learn as soon as you learn it. So you are not just going through some kind of tutorial and then never doing that again. You are learning something, and then you're applying it to a project. You have to think about the project. It's your own unique project. We really think that builds better skills. You'll notice number 7 says a second degree is an easy reach. So these 3 degree programs do have some foundational classes together. So when you're in some of your classes, you will have some of your classmates might be, if you're a graphic designer, you might have a photographer in your class or a couple photographers and digital audio video majors. And actually that's very nice because you guys kind of learn each other's skills a little bit, communicating with each other and supporting each other. But then because of that overlap, and then you also have your general education courses that you're taking, like the math, English, science. If, let's say, for instance, I'm going to make it an example of a couple students I have. I have two students who just graduated this past spring who were photography majors, and fantastic photographers, by the way. But they had some classes that, overlapped, some graphic design classes, and they discovered that they loved graphic design so much that they're coming back to get a graphic design degree. And because of the overlap in the degree programs, it's only going to take them one more year to do it. So in 3 years, they're going to have 2 degrees. Isn't that great? And then number 8, we have a creative ambience at Cranberry. We recently renovated the campus, so it has a really nice, cool vibe. And at the same time, it's a small campus. So the 3 programs are housed in the Cranberry campus. And so it's, like I said, it's a very cool campus, but it's small. You will feel very close to your classmates. The front office staff knows everyone on the campus. It's a really nice family environment down there. Okay, so let's move on to graphic design. So this branch of visual communication, it has a lot to do with printed matter, but it also goes into digital matter as well. Digital things that will come up on your phone or your tablets or on your computer. And as you go through the program, you will be learning, again, the software, design software that you need to learn. You will learn professional discipline and, different aspects, not just doing a project, but how to interact, all the stages of a project. And you will also complete multiple projects in the course of your education, that you'll have some great projects to have in your portfolio, provided that you put the effort in. You will have some fantastic projects. And if you see there to the right, we have some examples. We have 2 posters, the pumpkin spice latte. It would be something that would be hanging up in a coffee shop. We have a music night festival poster. We have a project in the bottom right-hand corner, which is a type project. And you can see the student made, and actually, if you got to see it really close up, even the areas that look like they're solid, that's all type in there. If you got close up, you'd see there's type. And then back to the upper left-hand corner, you see where it says Facets. That's an art and literary magazine that the college produces. And I put that on here because unfortunately you can't see the insides, but the inside has poetry and writing, but also selected artwork and photography from the students. And I want to mention too, for the last 20 plus years, we have won national awards for Facets magazine. And the magazine itself is laid out by 2 students. And so to move on, we have examples of graphic design jobs. So sometimes that's what students ask, or their parents ask, well, what kind of jobs are there out there? There's in-house design departments. Some companies have a design department right inside. A book publishing company, newspaper, might be laying out the newspaper itself or designing advertisements. Print shop, a lot of print shops do their own design work or provide a design work service to customers. Package designer, packaging, for food products or any kind of packaging. Fabric or wrapping designer. Freelance, maybe you want to be a freelance designer. You could be doing that, just strictly doing that, or maybe in addition to your job, or a type of consultant. Branding work, going through the process of doing a logo, but not just the logo, but everything that would be associated with it. And web designer. And a number of these, in particular, the in-house art department, book publisher, newspaper, both the laying it out and the advertisements, print shop, and freelancer. We have had students move on to all of these fields, areas. Great photography. What is great photography? It's more than just a nice shot. If you look at the second paragraph, it says at BC3, you will learn how to photograph compelling images that resonate with people. Images that really catch people's attention. Again, this is visual communications. You don't want to just throw out a shot there. You want something that really grabs people. And if you look here, I have several different kinds of examples. We have food photography. We have a special effect photography. We have several different types of nature photography between, ocean settings, some animals, and then some flowers. And then there's a product shot that's actually a ring. So different types of photography, all student work, excellent work from these students. So I'm always impressed. And some examples of photography jobs. I put wedding photography on top because that is what a lot of the students actually want to do, but not all of them. Some of them absolutely, like, hands down, don't want to. But that is obviously a job out there. Portrait photography, and that can be all kinds. Graduates, or senior photography, I should have put in there. Also family photos, engagement photos, baby photos, pet photos. Some people specialize in pet photography. Sports teams, you may not think professional. It could work out that way, but there's also colleges and high schools like to have a lot of sport photography, while they're on the field, or portraits of the students. Event photography, back to wedding, maybe the actual event itself, not just the portraits. And then corporate events. Sometimes they like to have a photographer at a corporate event. Staff photography, like a newspaper, or stock photography. Stock photography is when it's a company where people will purchase photos to use. Professional food photography, I say professional as opposed to just anyone snapping a photo. And product photography and real estate photography. Real estate companies like to get good shots of the houses. So these are all jobs that are available. Digital audio and video production. So video is very exciting and very, can be very compelling, and did see that we had a good level of interest in the survey. What you will be learning is the software, understanding audio, motion design, and the fundamentals that from photography and design, which will help make you a good videographer. So what we have on the side here are 3 examples. They're just screenshots from different movies that some students have done. The first one was from a documentary. The second one was an opening segment to production that a student did. And I picked that shot. I liked that because it did have some cool effects to it. And then the last is a shot of a music video, or from a music video. And some examples of audio video jobs would be, again, wedding videography. And actually, I've had some students we have had some students who meet through their classes. One's a videographer, one's a photographer, and they plan to pair up after school to work weddings together. So it's also great, working with all these different students, you make great contacts for the future, or sometimes maybe 2 photographers like to shoot a wedding together. So event videography, such as corporate events, family events, maybe a special party, anniversary party, school events, sporting. Sound engineer on video or for radio stations, TV stations. Business videography for websites, and that would be maybe how-to videos or product demonstrations on, there can be clunky looking ones that people do themselves, or or people would be happy to have a nice professional video for their website. Also music videos, motion designer, and video editor. And I forgot to list the ones from the video photography of what job students have gone on to, but I know I've had students go on to, again, the wedding videography, event videography. We had a student who did an internship for a radio station, and some business videography and music videos. So this is the Cranberry campus. I'm glad they were able to get some shots of the campus. Again, it was recently done. You can see it's that building. We don't quite have the entire building in the shop, but it's a smaller building. That's a nice front area where people like to hang out. We don't see the pool table. There's a pool table. There's a TV too. Got some study rooms. It's very, very nice. And I will say that I think you'll feel quite at home in the Cranberry location. And I'm very sorry for the lawnmower outside. If you have any questions, stick around, of course, to the end, and we'd be happy to answer them. Thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you, Christine. We appreciate you speaking to us about these programs. Remember, if you have any questions for Christine, you can type them into the question pane of the control panel at any time during the presentation. Before I introduce our next presenter, we have one last question to ask our audience. Which of the following statements best describes you? I'm exploring colleges and plan to start in the fall. I've already applied to BC3, but have not yet registered. I'm a current BC3 student and exploring programs of study. I'm a current high school student exploring my options, or none of the above. Please select your response and click submit. Once everyone has had a chance to respond, we will close the poll. We are now closing the poll, and let me share the results with everyone. It looks like we're pretty evenly split with this group. I'm exploring colleges and plan to start in the fall. We have some individuals who have already applied to BC3 but have not yet registered. Some individuals who are current BC3 students and exploring programs of study. And some students who don't identify either of the above, none of the above. I would now like to introduce our final presenter of the evening, Morgan Rosardi, Associate Director of Admissions at BC3, to talk about next steps in the enrollment process. Welcome, Morgan.
Thanks, Susie, and thank you to Dean Joseph and Mrs. Allen for giving us a wonderful overview of some of the programs that we have to offer in our humanities and social science area. So you're probably wondering, if you're interested in these areas, what are my next steps? So that's what I'm here to talk about a little bit more with you tonight. So first of all, I have to share that BC3 subscribes to an open admissions policy. And what this means is as long as a student has graduated from high school or has a GED or high set scores, they are welcome to attend a community college. And so all 14 community colleges across the state of Pennsylvania do subscribe to this open admissions policy. If you're one of the students on the webinar tonight that has not applied to BC3 and you're thinking about applying to BC3, we welcome you to apply this evening. We ask that you do go to our application, which is bc3.edu/apply. And when you get to this application, if you enter the code BC3bound20, you will be eligible for an application fee waiver. So even more incentive to apply if you haven't done so already, you'll save $25. Once your application is brought into our system, you will receive your acceptance letter via USPS mail, and that will have your BC3 username and password on it, and it will also guide you on how to set up your BC3 student accounts. We do request that students do send an official copy of their high school transcript or their GED high set scores to us, and if you've attended another college or university previously, please make sure that you send those official transcripts to us as well, so that we can bring in credits and apply them to your degree requirements here at BC3. Since we are an open admissions institution, we do have a placement testing process for new students that do not have previous college credits that they will be transferring in. Our placement tests assess students in reading, writing, and basic mathematics, and the tests are untimed, and you do get a second chance if you decide that you'd like to take one or the whole entire test over again. If you've taken the SAT or ACT in the last 5 years, you may want to have your scores sent to us because it may exempt you from our placement testing process. So that's something to consider if you have those within the last 5 years. BC3 has developed an online new student orientation that all students that are brand new to college will walk through to learn more about BC3 and what we have to offer. After you've completed that orientation, you'll have the opportunity to meet with an academic advisor. And this academic advisor is a general advisor that oversees all of our programs here at BC3, and they will help you set up a schedule that is conducive to your needs. You'll also have the opportunity to meet with the faculty advisor, and if you're in the creative and digital arts, Mrs. Allen will most likely be your academic advisor, so you'll be able to stay in touch with her throughout the process as well. Our fall semester does begin on August 24th, so we're less than a month away till the start of our fall semester, but there's still plenty of opportunity for students to apply and go through these steps to become an enrolled student. We do have a second later start date on September 21st, but keep in mind that not all of our classes are offered in this second start. So we encourage you to apply if you're interested and save the $25 with that code, as I mentioned previously. BC3, we have a very affordable tuition, and a lot of our students actually walk away debt-free. So that's a great point of pride for us. We do have a financial aid office here, and they are regularly in communication with students. They're able to meet with you virtually right now to help you through your FAFSA or whatever you may need. Some of the ways students pay for their education at BC3, we do have a payment plan. So families have taken advantage of that before, because depending on when a student schedules for it, they may have their installments in 2 or 3 chunks throughout the semester versus having to pay all up front. We also do use the federal financial aid programs. Some students qualify for grant programs, which is free money that you do not have to pay back. So if you find that you're eligible for a state grant, which is called FIA, or a federal grant, which are normally called Pell, that is free money to help you finance your education here. We also do have the student loan programs. Though we don't encourage students to take out a ton of student loan debt, it is available to you, and there are low interest rates. Also, look at scholarship opportunities. Our BC3 Education Foundation oftentimes awards scholarships upwards of maybe $500 to $1,000 to help students with their educational expenses here at BC3. The next application will open up in April of 21 for fall of 21, but you can apply for those each time you are enrolled here at BC3. We do offer employment opportunities through our federal work study program, which is great because we can work around your schedule as a student, and also have veterans benefits. And we do have a veterans coordinator here on campus, Mrs. Stella Smith, who is in our financial aid office, that can help guide and support you if you are a veteran returning to school. Finally, we do have some third-party agencies that have helped students with their financial expenses. We have a partnership with a great program called Pittsburgh Job Corps. They help students that are Pell Grant eligible, ages 17 to 24, with their expenses. And then here at BC3, we also do have a KEYS program, which stands for Keystone Education Yield Success. And that's for students that receive TANF cash assistance or food stamps, SNAP benefits, to help them with some additional supports while they're a college student as well. BC3 really cares about our students, and I think that's witnessed in all of our student testimonies. We offer a lot of student support services, and we want to make sure that students are successful outside of the classroom. So you will have that personalized academic advisor that will help and support you throughout your journey here at BC3. We do offer tutoring as well, so students are eligible for 1 free hour a week per subject of tutoring. So I always tell students that I'm horrible at math, so I would be going down to the tutoring center on the very first day and signing up for that free hour. This is throughout the semester, so if you come to a midterm and you decide that you want tutoring then, you're welcome to sign up at that point. We also do have a career services counselor and a transfer counselor. Career services help students not just with their job readiness, but they also can help students sometimes decide what major may be the best fit for them. Our transfer service area does help make those connections. I did see on a poll earlier that some of you are considering transferring to a 4-year college or university. So they help make those connections between BC3 and that 4-year college or university. So definitely utilize their resources if you feel that fits you. We do have an access and disability support resources counselor. So if you're a student that has an IEP, maybe needs a little extended time on testing, a note taker, we have that services available to you. And what fun would college be if you didn't join a student club or organization? So even at our BC3 at Cranberry Center, I know they're very active group of students down there, and their student clubs and organizations that they can get involved in and really make the most of their college experience. So on the screen now, you can see our admissions office team. Myself, Morgan Rosardi, I'm the Associate Director of Admissions. We also do have Jerry Johnston, who's one of our admissions representatives, and Susie Wazalewski, the voice of this evening, who's our Assistant Director of Admissions. We're all available to you. If you do have further questions or concerns after this presentation, please feel free to reach out to us. We use a calendar called Calendly. You can see those links there. And if you schedule an appointment with us, we will be able to have some more individual conversations with you. We do also have a high school assistant director of high school programming. Her name's Erin Chaffee. And if you're a high school student that's looking at maybe expanding your experience in high school and taking some classes ahead of time, Erin would be your contact as well. These appointments currently are virtual just because of the state of the world that we're in. But we've been enjoying talking to students via phone and web conferencing just like this.
Thank you, Morgan. We appreciate that information. We're now going to begin answering the questions submitted during today's presentation. So I'd like to welcome back our presenters from this evening and also introduce Dan Osorno, Humanities and Social Sciences faculty member. Dan will also be participating in tonight's Q&A. Remember, you can still submit questions through the questions pane in your control panel. Welcome back, everyone. So our first question for our panelists this evening is from Mike. And Mike is asking, what percentage or about how much of this program could I complete online since I don't live terribly close to BC3 at Cranberry's location?
Well, Mike, our classes typically are just strictly online. In person. Now, because of COVID right now, some classes are being offered or are actually running, not just being offered. They're running online. These would be the classes that Dan teaches. He's going to be teaching from home. My classes will be in person. So aside from those classes, you can take, I would think most of the general education courses, there's probably something online. Am I right, Dean Joseph? And
yes,
and
you could do, I'm sorry. Yeah, you could do a lot of the gen ed courses, speech, different writing courses. A lot of those you'd be able to do online.
Yeah. But for the most part, though, we do prefer to have the classes in person. It's a very interactive, they're all interactive. It tends to benefit everyone to be in person as much as possible. We may do this past spring, but we're all anxious to get back into the classroom as soon as we can. So my classes will be in person. So as far as percentage goes, it's kind of hard to say. I think maybe for the first semester, you could take maybe, if you're taking 5 classes, maybe 3 or 4 out of 5, perhaps, depending on which degree program you go with, maybe you could take online.
Very good. Thank you both for answering that. We have a question from Ryan. And Ryan is wondering how much per credit it is to attend BC3.
I'll go ahead and take that question. Thanks, Ryan. So our tuition is based on county of residency. So Butler County residents in the Cranberry Township area, all through Butler County, they do pay a little bit lower cost in tuition, which is currently set at $170 per credit. Our out-of-county students that reside outside of Butler County, they're slated to pay $270 per credit. They are self-sustaining campuses, so even though we do have campuses in other counties throughout Pennsylvania, that money goes right back into those campuses and their operating expenses, where we do get some sponsorship from Butler County to keep our costs low for Butler County residents through taxpayer dollars. So that's why there's a little bit of a difference between the two. I don't know if Christine and Dan would like to speak a little bit more because there may be some additional expenses you incur to participate in their courses in terms of equipment, because I know some students do have to plan for that as well.
Yes, you would be best, it would be best for you to at some point try to get a computer or a laptop if you do not have one already. I would recommend contacting us directly to get some recommendations. Please do not just go out and buy the cheapest one you can find because it's a great sale. It may not be able to handle the software that you're going to be using. There will also be some traditional art expenses. A few classes you have to take will be hands-on classes. So there will be some. We try to limit it to what the bare minimum, but you still will need to get some things. And then, Dan could talk a little bit about what for photography and digital video, what they might need.
Well, in my classes, what I usually do to make sure that everyone has an idea of what they need, so I usually send a welcome email to my students, a little list what students need. So, for example, for the Intro to Digital Photography class, I'll usually list the need for a camera card, the software, things like that. On the first day of class, I'll go through my course syllabus, and that'll have that in even further detail. So there's usually a way for me to give you that information. And if necessary, you can always email me.
Yeah.
Wonderful. And always keep in mind that our financial aid office is a good resource. So if you feel that you need some additional support in terms of your FAFSA or just trying to figure it all out, feel free to reach out to them.
Very good. Thank you all so much for that. Our next question comes in from Adrian. And Adrian is asking, if I eventually want a career in animation, what course is better for me?
Well, I would say probably the digital video, because you guys do cover motion graphics.
Correct. In COM 204, the last class in the degree, we do motion design. So we introduce you to Adobe After Effects, which is both a lot of fun and a lot of interesting puzzles to solve. So you start with live action video production, audio production, and in your final course, you work with motion design. So if your goal is to learn more about animation, the video degree would be probably the best fit.
It would also give you just the whole background in film production. Even though you're talking animation, it would just still give you more background just in the overall field itself. So I think that would be good as well.
Thank you both. Looks like we have time for another question. This question comes in from Brittany. And Brittany would like to know who she would talk to if she wants to double major in more than one of the majors discussed tonight.
I would recommend you talking to or contacting me. We could discuss how to proceed in this. You could, different ways you could get one degree done first and then work on your second, or, try to do a blend of it. But it's hard to say which is best. It would kind of depend on what your goals are and proceed. But I would be happy to discuss it with you.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. If your first stop would be with Mrs. Allen, and she would help you out. And then a second major requires a dean approval, so it would come to me eventually. But starting off with Mrs. Allen would get you on the right step.
Thank you, Dean Joseph and Christine. And thank you to all of our presenters today. We appreciate all the information you've given us, and also thank you to our attendees for attending our program spotlight on graphic and digital arts. Attendees will receive Attendees will receive a follow-up email with a link to view the recording of this webinar, as well as a link to BC3's online application. Remember, you can apply now using the free code BC3Bound20. And on behalf of Butler County Community College and our presenters, thank you for joining us and have a great evening.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks for coming. Have a nice evening.
Thanks again. Hope to see you.